Good morning. Welcome to Interfaith Spiritual Center Worldwide. We know that nothing happens by chance, that we are all here by divine appointment, and that we heard the call and that we answered. And if you're tuning in at this moment, we welcome you. There's something here for you. And as we come together this morning to acknowledge our wonderful theme has been just great as we've looked at the miracles of May and allowed ourselves today to relax and release. That is our topic today. Relax and release. In fact, the 3 R's of self-care are rest, renew, regenerate. And that as we do this on a daily basis, as we acknowledge that we're in the world, we're doing our thing, we're going to the store, we're taking care of our errands, we're cleaning the house, we're washing dishes, whatever we're doing, that we are in the world. And I loved it when Brother Lawrence said that he was at the scullery, this is like the 5th century, and he was washing the dishes for the brothers in the monastery. And he said as he looked out, he saw the sun kind of hit one of the pine needles with the snow in such a way that he became enlightened. Just doing what he was doing, washing the dishes, looking out, and at just that moment, energetically, he got it. Be still and know that I am God. And what the psalmist was saying is that when in that stillness, that moment where we let everything else go, all of the stuff, all of the energy, we let it, we release it, and return it to its native nothingness. We let it all go. Be still and know. So the holy I Am presence can arise through us. In that wonderful verse where Moses looks into the bush and says, "Who are you? What are you?" And the voice of I Am answers, "Cast off your shoes, for where you stand is holy ground." And what that means is, hey, there is nothing that stands between us and our spiritual understanding. Cast them off. Release it. Let it return to from whence it came. Returning and letting go and letting God. So as we let God enter into that space, and it's interesting, the space between 2 notes of music, that energy, that light penetrating through the doorway, that we feel that there is an energy and that we are never alone. And when we are feeling alone, that is the time to start breathing, to really breathe out that fear, to breathe out that energy. That when I am feeling unworthy, I let it go. I breathe it out. When I am feeling lack, I breathe it out. I let it go. When I am feeling limitation, I breathe it out. I let it go. When I am feeling scarcity, I breathe it out. I let it go. When I am feeling less than, I breathe it out and I let it go so that I can create the space of realizing that perfection, that power, that energy, that aliveness, that wisdom, that beauty is me. And when we really get that, then we get up every morning knowing in whom we live and move and have our being. That it is that one that goes before us and prepares the way. And that we feel it at such a very deep level. I was out somewhere, I guess at the health food store, and I came across this magazine. And the magazine is called Energy Times. And Goldie Hawn is on the cover, and they did an article on her. And she has written a book for adults and children called 10 Mindful Minutes, and that mindfulness counts. And she said that in her life, that she said, I was like any normal kid, and I would, run around the streets and ride my bicycle, and we'd lay on the grass, and we'd do the cloud formations, and we, were just regular kids. And then one day she said she went into her homeroom class, and they had films that you could watch, and she thought she was going to watch a farm film, and it was about the atomic bomb in Hiroshima. And she said that at that age, at 11 years old, it so stayed with her until her senior year of high school, and that she started having anxiety attacks. And she said, and also that the kids in school were anti-Semitic, and she was Jewish. And so they would make fun of her. And she said, Thank God I had parents who cared, and I had resiliency, and they knew I was never going to be a rocket scientist. They knew I was not going to be a brain surgeon, but I could dance, and I loved to dance. And people loved to be in my energy when I danced. I loved to make people laugh. I loved to make them lighten up, because with all the burdens, my burdens are heavy, right? With all the burdens that are going on, this is an opportunity to let it all go. And when Jesus said, my burdens are heavy, my burdens are light. Well, now let's think about this. When we look at the burden of life, and we can feel, and you see people, don't you? You see them in actually their posture bent over because the burdens are so heavy. But when we let it all go, we release it to its native nothingness, it goes back to its native nothingness. And the shoulders represent that feeling burden. My burdens are easy. My yoke is light. And when my burdens are easy, it's like I can breathe. I can let it all go. My yoke is light. There's a lightness. So she realized that what she loved to do, and that she was also supported in what she loved to do. And that she said, knowing that I was not going to be any great academic, that I was for the arts. And that made all the difference in my life. And went on to win the Academy Award for one of the Oscars for her acting ability. And so she wrote this book, 10 Minutes of Mindfulness. And she wrote it for children, so that when 9/11 occurred, and she said they kept showing it over and over and over, and we know every time we turned on the news for days, it was the Twin Towers going down and into destruction 1,001 times. And she knew that this would be ingrained on our children, and they would inherit this fear, this innate fear that I do not feel safe. And so she started creating this foundation, the Han Foundation, in which she brings children in to visualize what they want. And Columbia University did a study of what she had founded and saw that 25% of the children created more optimism in their life. There was like 45% less aggression on the playground. That we know that the science of mind, the laws of science, the opinions of philosophy, the revelations of religion applied to human need and the aspirations of man and woman are making a difference. We know that. And we have studied this. I love it when universities and scientists and physicists and quantum physicists agree with us that thoughts are things and words are molds, as Dr. Ernest Holmes states in the Science of Mind textbook. That this is the law of metaphysics. He jumped on the bandwagon. He said that I take my good wherever I find it. So it's a compilation of all the great religions, all the essence of our oneness, the golden thread that links us in that oneness. And it really is about oneness. And it moves beyond religion, because we all worship the same God. We all go within to the secret place of the Most High to pray to our Father, Mother, God in secret, and to know that we are acknowledged openly by the outward demonstrations of our lives. So when we can acknowledge that there's a lot going on the planet, Linda and I were at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and I was doing the keynote speaking for Amazing Women's Day. And there was a speaker that came up that day and started talking about everything that's going on, and that children are dying every 5 seconds from hunger, and went on and on and on. We have a lot of work to do on the planet. There is no shortage of food on the planet, but there is a distribution challenge. There is a lot of work to do on the planet. We acknowledge that. But she never did get on the solution level. It was all the problem level. So we acknowledge that these things are here. We need to do what we can where we are with the tools that we have. And if that's getting up in the morning and giving thanks and counting our blessings, as Leisha sang so beautifully this morning, that we count our blessings. We look at what's working in our life, what's life affirming in our life. We open the space and say, thank you, Father, Mother, God, for the abundance that is mine. And the signs and symbols along the way, let's not be blind to those. Let's open to the signs and the symbols, the little miracles along the way that occur. And you know that we have been very challenged this past couple of years. All nonprofits right now are going through some dramatic changes. And I'm, looking at what we can do to keep, our doors open, and about moving somewhere else and doing things so that we can catch up to ourselves, and being on the solution level and putting it out there and masterminding, and also giving my time, energy, money, resources, putting the works with the faith so that we can be together in community, which I feel so deeply about. And as you know, when I said I was turning 70, I was going to pass the ministry on, and our Vision Council board came to me and said, we would really prefer you not do that, because we feel that we have such a beautiful community, and that if you moved on, that it would all fall apart. And I said, well, maybe it would fall apart so it can fall together at a higher level. But I am the founder. I would always be here. But there is a time when I do need to pass it on, and someone's going to say, like, I love my favorite Martin, when we had a singer one time who has been retired for several years, and she, tried to hit the high note and couldn't. It went, like that. And Martin said, sometimes it's really good to know when to retire. He told me privately. And it is. So, I love what I do, and I do what I love, and I know I do it well. It's my gift. I mean, from the time I was in kindergarten and doing show and tell, and they sent me to the cloakroom because I was too social, and go in there so that you can come back and not talk to everybody. And I went in there and I saw all these little, there was like little sacks of cookies and sandwiches and all this stuff in there. I thought it was for me, and I was in there having a great old time. I didn't know it was for the first graders who were staying there longer and needed to have lunch. We were hearing, where's my cookies? Where's my sandwich? Where's this? And so the teacher came and said, did you eat the cookies and the sandwiches? And I went, yes, I thought they were there for me. I really did. It's like we come in to the universe as kids and we know it's all there for us. We don't know it belongs to somebody else. It's just there. It smells good. Yum. I love children, and I love their honesty and how wonderful children are. And I know that Jesus really got it when he said, unless we become as little children, we will not enter into the kingdom of God. So that relaxing part and that releasing, remember that last step of the spiritual treatment is to release it. So we start out and we recognize that there's a power in the universe greater than where there is one mind. That mind is God's mind. We unify with it, and that mind is my mind right here and right now. And we realize the truth of our situation, that we are perfect, complete, and whole. And wherever lack, limitation, scarcity, undeservingness, all that stuff appears in our life, it is resolved and returned to its native nothingness. We are created in the image and likeness of God, and we are told that it is good, and it is very good. And see, I believe that. I absolutely believe that within the very bone marrow of my beingness. I get it. I really get it. And that was not always the way. As we learn fear, we learn different things that we get to unlearn when we come into a way of life that allows us to return all of that and to recognize that love is the strongest healing power in the universe. And that if we could love enough, we would be the strongest, most powerful beings in the world. In the world. So here we are together. And we are in a community. And I'm making decisions about, our community and what to do next. And because, as I said, I can't want the community more than the community wants the community, right? And so Linda and I went to the mailbox, our P.O. box last Sunday, and we opened up an envelope. And it was someone in our congregation that we just, loved, and he was, such a great guy on so many levels, and had a weird sense of humor that I just loved. It was Alan Zimbelman. And he was going to leave us some money when he passed. And we were told by the attorney there was nothing in the estate, and for me to sign a waiver. So Reverend Linda called and, got some information, and then we decided I'll just sign the waiver and send it in, because my affirmation is, if not this God, then something better. So we signed it in, we blessed it, I blessed Alan. You know, he was so instrumental in purchasing the things that you see here up on the stage. And we let it go. That was about a month ago. So we go, and there's this large envelope, and we see it's from the attorney. And we thought there's probably just a distribution of what has occurred. And since we were named as one of the beneficiaries, they want us to know. And so Linda's reading through it. And then it said, Interfaith Spiritual Center Worldwide, $10,000. So to me, that was a sign and a symbol that we are to continue. I don't know if we're going to continue at the Camelot. I'm looking into other options. They've certainly loved us here. And however, there are other options out there. And I just gave thanks. We prayed over this bequest right there in our hands and gave thanks for the blessing, for the sign, and the symbol. That during these many interesting times, that there is the good, the true, and the beautiful that is occurring. And when I was giving the International Peace Prize in Africa, you know, so many people said, you know, how do you go to Africa, one of the most impoverished nations on the globe, and they give you $10,000 to continue your work in world peace? And I said, yes, it's really interesting. I said, because the priest who founded the universities, 3 universities, 5 manufacturing companies, hospitals on grounds, is one of the wealthiest men in Nigeria, and he just gives it away. And he gets it, that you'll never outgive God. So energetically, no matter what is going on, that there is that glimmer. Let's go with the glimmer. Let's focus on that glimmer of light. Let's expand that glimmer of light. Let's know that peace is possible within ourselves. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. It has to begin with ourselves. And then, if that's what we can do every day when we arise, let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. And if we got stuff going on, let it go. Release it, and let it go, because that's not more important than our peace. We don't want to make anything more important than our peace and our joy, which is the most infallible sign of the presence of God. So today I greet you. I truly love you. And I love being here. And I just know that we're going to go somewhere. And do you know where it is? Higher yet.